This is Theater Sandra. We don't have to do any of this. We do it simply because we must. The incredible Jessica James is up next on Rediscovered Movies. Hello, my name is Nomfanelo Malloy. I am your host of Rediscovered Movies, where overlooked movies, whether mainstream, independent, or somewhere in between, are discussed to be rediscovered for your viewing pleasure. Today's film is The Incredible Jessica James, which is the first original streaming movie discussed on the podcast, so therefore there will be no box office reports. Let's start with some information about the film. So, this movie was released on July 28th, 2007 on Netflix. The film is a comedy slash romance written and directed by Jim Strouse, who is known for doing Grace is Gone, The Winning Season, and People, Places, Things. The film stars Jessica Williams, LaKeith Stanfield, Chris O'Dowd, and Noel Wells. Here's the synopsis. Jessica, an aspiring playwright in New York City, is trying to get over a recent breakup when she meets Boone, who's also recovering from a recent split. Together, they figure out a way to make it in a post relationship world. The film premiered at the 2017 Sundance Film Festival, where Netflix acquired the rights. In terms of reception, on Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it 89%. Here's what they have to say with the consensus. The incredible Jessica James makes its standard storyline feel new, almost purely on the strength of a captivating, potentially star making performance from Jessica Williams. The audience, however, gave it 65%. And as I've mentioned, the film is available to watch on Netflix. All right, let's start off with first discoveries. Essentially, this category, I talk about my initial reactions when I first saw the film, how I first learned about this movie, and has my opinions changed about the film since then. I first saw the teaser trailer, which was less than a minute long, and I thought, oh, maybe this could be interesting because it shows, yeah, Jessica Williams, she's, having fun, but has like montages of, various points of her life. So I thought, oh, maybe this could work, but I need to see the full trailer to get a better assessment. Now, once that dropped, I felt, oh, this in a way could be similar to Master of None, which is a TV show available on Netflix with Aziz Ansari and Noel Wells was also in this movie. So I felt like it was similar to that show in terms of focusing on two characters navigating, their careers in the arts, trying to make it big while also dealing with personal issues. And the full trailer piqued my interest, which made me saw the film during opening weekend, and I loved the film. For me, it was essentially like the best original Netflix film, probably until Dolomite, but is still up there for me for Netflix because at times Netflix could be, hit and miss with their films, but when it works, it works. And now reflecting on the film, my opinion of the film hasn't changed because I liked how it is relatable for struggling artists. So I felt, yeah, that aspect of the film worked. All right, let's start with the highlights. The writing, the screenplay is solid. I felt like the characters, like the situation, the themes, that sort of stuff, it felt genuine and realistic to some degree for the most part. Like, for instance, there's the subway scene when Jessica enters and she's trying to get a seat, and this guy has his legs open And she doesn't say anything. She just claps her hands, telling him to move, make space. I feel like, yeah, that is something that has probably happened because I'm sure for those that do take public transportation will know that that rings true in some form or shape. The the theater also highlights for that one. I loved that Jessica, like, she is trying to make it big as a playwright in New York City, which is tough because there is tons of competition, and usually, like, the community is smaller than one would hope. So I loved the rejection letters that she places on her wall. It really, for her, serves as motivation to keep going, to move forward. And there's one particular rejection letter she receives from Tim Sanford where it praises like her, I guess, potential, but even though she did not get the news that she hoped, but in a way she appreciated that because it praised like her work, while the majority of them is just a typical, you know, message, oh, we regret to inform you that you are not accepted, so forth. It just gets straight to the point. I loved her relationship with the children that she teaches at the nonprofit, particularly with Sandra, because there we could see them having like a mentor mentee type relationship because we see Sandra, like, obviously she's interested in the arts, but she, of course, is dealing with her family situation because her mom is a single mom, and there's like a custody battle happening, and I guess that kind of affects, her love for the arts because she seems to be like the only student that was interested in the writers weekend because she was the first to submit the forms and all that stuff, but she was the first to pull out because during that weekend, it was the same weekend that her father is taking her to Six Flags. And there's like a conflict with that. She doesn't end up going, but Jessica, she still, like, reaches out to tell her, like, hey, like, you could, like, she feels sorry for her, but she should still, like, continue to pursue her passion for the arts. And there's a scene in the first act where they're doing like improv, where they're visualizing, like, they're telling like what they're, I guess, visualizing in their minds, and Sandra pretty much does not see anything, and therefore she is required to deliver a monologue where she talks about feeling nothing, and that rings true. We all could feel that way because of our, I guess, personal struggles, like whatever we're dealing with. But that should not stop you from achieving the goals that you want in life. I love too that with Jessica, she is, dealing with writer's block because she tries to write, but she still thinks about her ex Damon. How she interacts with Damon is through these dream sequences, which I will explain later in the lowlights. I also wanted to mention too the montages of the theater posters, like in her room. Like those were a nice touch because we see in one shot she is a Carnegie Mellon grad. Jessica Williams. She is the MVP of this movie. I have not seen her work prior to this film, but I know she is known for The Daily Show and Two Dope Queens. I hear that, yeah, she's a comedian. So, with her interactions with the actors, it felt genuine. Maybe there might have been some improv every now and then, but I didn't feel like the performance was like it wasn't like overly, I guess, produced because there are some other movies where you could tell right away that it's fake with the relationship, but I didn't see that in terms of her relationships with Sandra, with her best friend Tasha, and Boone, and also too with Damon. All right, one of my favorite scenes is when she heads back to Idaho for her sister's baby shower. Loved that she wears the purple jumper, which makes her looks super fly. And clearly, like when she arrives, she doesn't fit in because she is the type of person that wants to stand out because, she's an artist and all that stuff. But back in her hometown, like the family seems to be more conservative because even at one point, the sister like wants her to change because she wants everyone to look a certain way, like in the baby shower. And I thought, yeah, that was hilarious. And I bet many people could relate to that aspect because clearly we see that with Jessica, she wants to get out of there as soon as possible. Yeah, the soundtrack. I'd say yeah, like it's a good banger. The majority of the artists that are featured I was not familiar with except for Sophie Tucker, but yeah, like I would definitely like download this. All right. Now moving on to the lowlights. The coming of age aspect of the film worked in terms of, Jessica trying to make it big as a playwright in New York City. However, with the romance part of the film did not work because it felt too generic. Like with her relationship with Boone, we obviously know they're gonna get they're gonna be together, even though they are both dealing with, healing, licking their wounds of their past relationships. And the romance plot with Damon, I felt with the dream sequences, they felt out of place because, yes, she is still upset not being with Damon, but at the same time, why is this here? And we see Damon at the end during the writer's night for the kids. He shows up to congratulate her. So that felt like a wrap up moment because I felt that was out of place because we only see Damon in reality at the beginning during her Tinder date where they have their brief exchange. So his role could have been like a cameo or I guess extended cameo without him showing up at the end. And probably the dream sequences could be like utilized more, like make it more like surreal. Or maybe, I don't know, like Damon could maybe like either tell Jessica off, like, tell his, I guess, feelings, even though it's all in her head. But it could have been more experimented with instead of just having it brief. Because, like, with like the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, That movie did a good job in terms of the romance and the use of like surrealism to project its points. So I felt it could have had with this movie, it could have had more influence from Eternal uh Spotlit Sunshine. But really like other than that, like I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Now, there's not much fun facts about the film, but here is what I gathered. So, with the rejection letters, as I've mentioned, it features a diploma from Carnegie Mellon University. So, kudos to her being a Carnegie Mellon grad. Also, this movie marks the second collaboration between the director Jim Strouse and Jessica Williams after they worked on People, Places, Things, which I do recommend you guys check out as well. Because that movie stars Regina Hall and Jermaine Clement, where he is a single dad trying to navigate, him raising his daughter, while also his romantic endeavors with Regina Hall's character, where Jessica Williams plays Regina Hall's daughter and also a student of Jermaine Clement. So she tries to get those two together in that movie. And interesting, this movie was number 10 on Miss Mojo's top 10 best Netflix romance movies. Well, that video came out 2018, so I'm not sure how it'll pan out if they do like a recent version. But I'm not surprised with that ranking given like with my thoughts on that aspect of the film. But it was no surprise that To All the Boys That Love Me was number one, obviously because that movie had huge budge because of the books and I guess also to the chemistry between the lead actors. All right, now the important question is why should this movie be rediscovered? Well, for one, Jessica Williams, she does a fantastic job with her performance as a woman, struggling to make it big in the city while also navigating her romantic endeavors. It made me curious to see like her previous work and what she has coming up. I felt like this movie kind of launched her career to get more like notable work because after this movie she did the Fantastic Beasts films and Booksmart. And also too like I would love to check out Two Dope Queens and the Daily Show just to see like her range as not only a comedian but also as an actress. The writing is solid. Loved, you know, the themes of going for your dreams, self discovery. Like those are very prominent in this movie. Also felt that the chemistry and like the realistic aspects of like the theater, it felt genuine. Also loved, yeah, the cameo with theater artist Sarah Jones. Loved during that scene with Jessica. She pretty much says, "Oh, like you're already doing the theater, even though like it's not like a well-paying job, but you're doing it because you love it." So I felt that rings poignant because she even asked, like, "What does theater mean to you?" And that could be interpreted in various ways depending on the person. And obviously, with Jessica, theater means the world to her as she not only like pursues her playwriting career, but also teaches young kids to appreciate it more in life. Yes, I do highly recommend you check out this movie on Netflix. That is a wrap on this episode of the podcast. You can submit questions, comments, and suggestions by email, which is rediscoveredmovies@gmail.com. Those will be read along with a recap of the season, which will air after the season finale. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at RDMoviesPod for updates. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.